Welcome back, guys. I hope everyone's doing well, not buying into this fear. Plenty of it going on at the moment. Hasn't it really ramped up? It's just insane since the last time me and Mitch were together. It's just really kicked off pretty much the day after we done that podcast, wasn't it, Mitch?
Yeah, unbelievable, mate. Like I was saying, it's just snowballing continuously, and it will ramp up even more and more. Um, and it's just crazy times, mate, isn't it?
Yeah, it really is. Well, I thought this was on the cards. We've seen that burning of the statue of Baal by the local Iranian people, or Iranians, I should say, however you want to pronounce it, I guess. Um, yeah, so when I saw that, and then there was a response from Netanyahu, and I was like, this is definitely in the works. So for it to happen now, it's yeah, no surprise. But yeah, we've seen the bombing of one of the cities over there. Is it the capture of the um, or did they kill him, the president?
Yeah, and a lot of his staff members, whatever you want to call them. Um,
Yeah,
it's just
whatever you want to believe.
yeah, exactly. It's so sad, but my heart goes out to all the victims and people that are just you know, in the firing line, and it'll will continue. Just the foot soldiers
Yeah,
and just the people that are innocent people that are dying. Yeah, it's so sad.
terrific. It's for anyone that's caught up in these atrocities, and the Palestinian people, or anyone that's been a part of what's gone on. Particularly in the Middle East since 9/11, and that's just so many atrocities and that, and yeah, obviously, um, yeah, like my heart goes out to them. It's just absolutely insane that it still continues to go on. But yeah, like I was saying, the fear is really ramped up. You know, I was speaking to a few friends over the weekend that aren't awake, and they're worried about the potential World War III, and so you can just see how this is, playing into the hands of that card and furthering that agenda. And um, but yeah, yeah. At the same time, like this, you really got to use the discernment with what's going on over there because, like we spoke about in the last episode with AI and so many fake videos out there, and it's just insane. So you don't know what to believe, and obviously there's real stuff as well. So it's just, and I think that was part of the reason why they introduced it now was to scramble us, knowing that this time there was going to be so much coming out with the Epstein files as well, and now this war, and they just want to confuse people with what's going on. You don't really know what to believe. So like that burning of the statue of Baal, like, was that real? Like, and then so many of the videos coming out about the war and attacks and different things that happen, and like you seeing different videos. It's like, is that real? Is it not? Yeah, it's a crazy time to be alive. It really is.
Yeah,
So, you don't want to get too caught up in it all, because it can be a bit of a mind fuck.
yeah, definitely. Some nights I'm just looking into too much information, staying up too late, and yeah, it can really affect you. And all these bad things that are happening at the moment, and then all the distractions from the Epstein files, and it's it's so sad that people can just sort of move on so quickly. Um, but that's what it's becoming at the moment with so many different things happening, and um,
mm,
it, it's they're not tiptoeing anymore. They're running like with this agenda, and we got to run with them because they're using this time, the astrological time, on purpose, and that's what they do all the time throughout history. They quicken up in these certain times because they know that it'll help them further their agenda. But that's why so many people are awakening too, because it's a time where they know that it's it's the internet. It's out there. This information's out there. That's what they do, and they know that a lot of people will awaken and further create division. But we just got to really keep focusing on these Epstein files because they want us off it, and it's so obvious. But yeah, we just really got to keep pushing and using this astrological time to benefit us as well.
yeah, you brought up some good points there. But yeah, there's no doubt that like eh, it's the Great Awakening, the apocalypse, like I spoke about in the last uh, podcast that we did. Like the unveiling, like that word, the apocalypse actually means unveiling, and yeah, so like they knew they this time was coming, and people were going to wake up, and um, there was nothing they could ever really do about it, but to show their true hand. So it's just it's crazy how though it's sort of just really spiraled out of control this year. Like we had that lull for quite a while since COVID. Obviously, we had the atrocities kick off in Palestine and that's been going on for quite some time now. But in the Western world, it's been pretty tame. Um, but yeah, since 2026, it's just really quick and kicked off, and like you said, and it's just moving along at a rapid pace now, and so many different things coming out. And
Mm.
yeah, like you said, to distract us from the Epstein file. So yeah, we've got to keep speaking about that. That's the number one thing. I think obviously, you know, all the truth is out there. They're not going to stop speaking about it and that. But um, yeah,
Yeah,
I think people that were maybe looking into a little bit and scratch the surface of it, but weren't really consumed by it, and now fucking consumed by this war. So, um, but we with that initial dump or a couple dumps of the Epstein files, we got a lot of people there, mate. I'm telling you, there was a lot of people now that are consumed in that. And they're journeying down rabbit holes, and they're on their awakening journey. So, um, I personally, I think that's what we need to focus on in the movement. Obviously, unity more than anything, but
yeah,
it's nurturing uh, these newly awakened people through their journey, and that so
yeah.
because it is difficult. And
Uh,
one thing I wanted to touch on today too was our awakening journeys. Back in like 2010 and what we went through. We might speak a bit about that later, but it's such a process to go through. So like these people that are going through it at the moment, it's a lot, and especially once you know, you go down the rabbit holes of SRA and just the stuff that you're finding out in the Epstein files. It's crazy, isn't it?
yeah,
When you first find
it's
out, yeah.
I know, and these people awakening right now, it must be so tough for them. It's like it's just so much information, to take in
Yeah,
all at once. Like
bombardment.
we were tiptoed into it, like um, slowly, but like well, pretty fast. But uh, like compared to them, they just got everything just thrown at them straight away. Um, and it must be so hard. But yeah, it's like they want to fasten up technology, and that's what these wars in the past have done. And I think that's why they want to bring about this one at this time to further the technology of artificial intelligence because it'll be an arms race and bring about the fourth industrial revolution even quicker. Um, and but yeah, it's like you said, we've really got to unite with each other. It's okay if you disagree with someone on something, or if you think that like they don't know everything, or because we all have got things to learn. And yeah, like I said, we just really got to unite more than ever. And yeah,
Yeah, that's the key for me. Because like, we see everywhere there's division just within everything. So, and the truth community is one where there's so much division, and then so much division through religion and everything. So, now's a time when we're learning about all this stuff, more on a collective. Um, it's like we have to unite. We're learning that this is our true enemy. We can't got to put down all our differences with our so-called enemies that we've been designed to fight against, our brothers and sisters, and fight the true enemy.
yeah,
You know.
exactly. Because they're not in just one faction, like people keep saying, oh, it's the Jews, it's the Jews. Like they're integrated into every religion, every aspect of society. And that's like we touched on in the last one. Like there's bad people everywhere out there. And that's what they want to create, these false flags. Um, because they're pirates, you got to realize. Because that's where false flag comes from. They used, in the ships, they put up the wrong flag, and people would think that they're with that country, and then they'd raise the pirate flag just at the end or when they've won the battle.
Yeah, that's interesting that you brought that up because like that's the law they operate out of too. Is this maritime law?
Yeah,
Um,
exactly.
it's funny you mentioned that, but yeah, it's where do I go from here? I mean, like, what do you think is going to happen, like, with this war? Like, where do you think it's going to go to from here? Do you think it's all uh, going to fizzle out, or do you think it could actually potentially manifest into World War Three?
Look, might take a time before we get there to that, but it's hard to know. There's so many plays right now, um, and so many crossroads. Like we're in a crossroads, and it's hard to know and hard to sort of come to a conclusion thinking that it's going to happen now or in another 2 years because we know these wars can get dragged out until another player comes in to it. But I think nuclear war is always their fear mechanism. Like I really, and I don't think it's going to happen. And then some people think that nuclear weapons are fake, which who knows? Like there's so much out there that we don't know, and there's so many deceptions. It's hard to decipher. But yeah, we just got to keep talking and keep integrating, and keep Like, just, yeah, have faith that this won't turn into a full scale um, World War Three because, yeah, it, it'd be, it's hard to fathom. Like,
Yeah, look,
it,
I've never, I don't know, I've just always gone off my gut feeling, my intuitive feeling. And my whole life, it's, something I've never really been worried about. Like in that sense, I think we're in the war. I think the
yeah,
war kicked off
exactly.
in 2020,
Yeah,
or even
yeah,
earlier.
yeah. It's an
It's
info
never been
wars, isn't
a
it?
long time, but
Yeah,
the real pushing of this, Agenda 21, like, they had all this plan of this push towards the New World Order and stuff. Like, ever since that, like the COVID, it's really, ramped up, and we're in a different type of war. Um, it's a war on your mind. It's an information war. Yeah, there are wars going on, and different people getting killed in many different ways. Look how many people were killed from this experimental injection. Well, I don't think it was experimental at all. They knew exactly what it was going to do, and it's killed off a hell of a lot of people and continues to do so. Um, so yeah, we're in a totally different type of war. So I've never, I don't know, I've never seen that happening in this lifetime. So not
mm,
that to say that it's not going to happen, but I'm just not in fear of it.
yeah,
Just something I've never been in fear. I try not to fear things. I try not to live in fear at all. I think
yeah,
that's the level of vibration they want us in, is that state of fear. And yeah, at times different things are gonna put us, get us scared or whatnot. But like it's all about rising above that, isn't it?
yeah. Exactly right, Josh. And realizing what sort of world we're in, and we've come here for a mission and an experience like never before, and for us to rise up and be heroic. And it's so much emotions going on at the moment, but it's um yeah, it's the great awakening, like you said, Josh, out of this trance, which is, and realizing, like Neo in the Matrix, that this is the beast matrix of the 666. It's integrated into our clock. Like, if you subtract opposite numbers on a clock, the result is always six. And there's 60 seconds in a minute, 60 minutes in an hour, and then 24 hours in a day. Two plus four is six. And then you can go deeper. Obviously, there's even the Star of David, 6 points on the outside, and then six triangles, and then six sides on the inner part. Carbon is 666, six protons, six neutrons, and six electrons. Um, Obviously, 33 vertebrae, three plus three is six. Um, 33 vertebrae in your spine, that is. And then 33-degree Freemason equals six. Like, this numerology stuff is all around us, guys, and you really got to be paying attention because they know all about this. Um, and if you keep, an open mind to all this, it's in plain sight, and that's where they put it all for us to see. Um, yeah, it's even,
That's part of.
yeah.
Sorry,
No, you go ahead.
I was just gonna say, like, that's part of. Satanism. It's part
Yeah.
of what they have to do. They've got to sort of uh,
Mm,
reveal to us what they're
exactly.
doing, and they've done this in like a sneaky way throughout time. Through putting it in movies and music, and
Yeah. Karmic laws.
um,
Yeah.
yeah, just yeah. But now it's so blatant too. Like I don't know. It's just because we're so aware as well. But it mightn't be as blatant as some people. I guess it's how you interpret it. But yeah, it seems like it's just everywhere.
Yeah.
When you got the eyes to see, once you're awake, it is everywhere. Like
Yeah, it's like that craze that
all
came
throughout
out.
Disney, the Disney stuff, and
Yeah. Oh, it's everywhere. Exactly right. Yeah. Uh, even the as we know, as most of us should know, about the 13 bloodlines and how 13's everywhere. Um, some more examples of that. Um, you got the 6-7 thing craze that came out. I don't know, many of you people should heard about it. It's just random thing that this rapper came up with apparently, and he's into Satanism, and
oh yeah, I think
all the
everyone would be
kids are
aware of it.
yeah, all the kids are saying
Anyone
six
that's got
seven,
kids.
yeah, and it adds up to 13. 13th letter in the alphabet is M. There's all these big companies, obviously McDonald's, Microsoft, Mastercard, Mitsubishi, Mars Bar, M&M's, MG, Mercedes, and then there's 76ers in the NBA, 49ers in the NFL, and then you got heaps of other ones: Mazda, Maserati, McLaren, um, Morningstar. Um, yeah, it's just another numerology thing that they want to put plaster everywhere, and it's
Mm,
like I said, it's in plain sight. All these um, stuff that they want to put out there that they have to because the karmic laws, and that's what
mm.
Satanism is all about. And yeah, it's crazy, isn't
I
it?
don't think it clears their karmic laws though.
No, exactly right. But they're just yeah, oh, yeah,
Delusional.
must do something by, and they just get kicks out of it and putting it in everywhere and all the
Yeah, well, yeah, it is. It must do something, you're right.
mm, yeah. But they
Otherwise,
just
they wouldn't go to the trouble of doing it all.
exactly right. That's who we're dealing with. It's crazy fucking demonic people, eh? Like, sorry for my swearing, but it makes you get you angry and all that's going on in the world. And it's hard not to get angry at times, but um, we just got to put that power in the right way and um, yeah, keep
Yeah, exactly.
yeah,
Well, it's something you mentioned before about, I think this is important for someone who's just waking up. They're trying to wrap their heads around like how this cabal has been able to control the world and, do it for so long. And in it, like it is difficult to wrap your head around, but like you were saying, like they're in every industry, and they've been able to set this up. And like, they set it up a long time ago. So, but yeah, like Mitch was saying, they're within religion, obviously politics. Um, but like they're also got these secret societies that they're all a part of, different factions of this cabal. The Freemasons, they're the big ones that are in control out here in Australia, I believe. You got the Jews and the Jesuits, and I can't even think of other ones off the top of my head. You might be able
yeah.
to help me out, Mitch. But
There's so many different factions, and You can't get
Yeah,
too wrapped up about, you know, pointing finger at one and only one because yeah, that's how they do it. They just scatter themselves into different names and
yeah. But
fool
also
to
another
say, yeah.
thing,
It's like,
people.
yeah,
Sorry, I just wanted
yeah,
to add that another important thing for people to understand is like there's two companies that BlackRock and Vanguard that pretty much control every industry, every department is like controlled or owned by these two industries. So like it's very easy to be able to then control what's going on, you know.
mm,
They're all throughout the media. Israel is a massive part of this organization. You know, they're a heart, I believe, along with the Vatican,
yeah,
are massive parts of this
yeah.
cabal. And
That's why the
Israel should control all the media. You know, they own the media. So like everything that comes out through the media is fucking propaganda, and it's there to keep you in a state of fear and designed to more, divide us more, and yeah, So, anything you want to add to that, Mitch?
yeah, I was gonna say about like how they kiss the wall, all these elite people, the wall in Israel, and that was made by Romans. Um, and
Yeah,
then you know Israel Israel is, if you break it up, is means Isis, Ra, the sun god, and then El
yeah,
is Elohim. Like you got all these angels with El obviously at the end of their name, like Gabriel, Azrael, Raphael, Uriel. Yeah, and the list goes
yeah.
on. Michael.
And that's another
Just
thing you
fuck.
got to, that people mightn't understand is like ISIS and
Yeah.
all these other terrorist groups. They've been constructed by Israel, by Mossad.
Hmm.
You know,
Yeah.
um. So and like, there's no wonder they're called ISIS. Like, there you go.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. That's what they're on all sides. We know that they're all funded by the same people and the same 13 bloodlines that control, but then they, you know, it's probably another layer behind that, and who knows how, how deep it can go, obviously with different dimensions, and we could get into that, but that's a whole nother rabbit hole that, is it's hard to throw at people if they're only just getting into this sort of stuff. But always people say, oh, but why would they do, why would they want these sorts of things? Because there's a darker force behind everything, and a lot of us know that. And yeah, it's crazy. But like I've said in one live about, I'll just touch on about sevens. The seven is so apparent in this world as well as the six. Um, you got 7 days of the week, seven chakras, seven seas, seven continents, seven musical notes, seven colors in the rainbow, seven levels of the periodic table, seven planets invisible in the naked eye, apparently. But um, um, s- yeah, seven major cell assemblies identified, seven um, major components of the central nervous system, um, seven critical organs, seven wonders of the world, which they only, just made up, and it was competition or some bullshit. Seven deadly sins, seven times Jesus bled for our sins. 7 days God created the everything, you know. Seven is mentioned in the Bible 700 times. Seven seals of God from Revelations, seven trumpets, seven. It just goes on and on. It's ridiculous. Anyway, I just wanted to throw that out there.
One thing I was going to say too, before you went into all that about the sevens, for people trying to wrap their heads around everything that's going on, they're only just got waken up. Like, um, I think, with these Epstein files dropping, it's really helped because, to wrap your head around it all, I've always said you got to understand how evil these people are, you
Yeah.
know, just because, like people just think they always just judge from a humane perspective, like these people aren't that, like they're far from that, like they're the complete opposite. Like,
Mm.
they get off on what's going on. I like, sorry, what they do,
Yeah.
or um, so and like that's another thing with the Epstein files is the reason why, what he was doing in the operations, um, as to why them heinous crimes were committed on that island was for blackmail and stuff. Yeah, there might have been a little bit of that, but like it's not like that. Like these people, this is what these people do. Like they love doing this. They get off on it, like they are the sickest of sick,
Mm.
And then if you want to get deeper, like it's for you know the real control of this planet. Like these this evil force like that feeds off this. This is why they do these disgusting things. This is what this force feeds off. It feeds off human energy.
Mm.
Not only that, human flesh. You know. And it's
Yeah.
that low vibrational energy, the loose energy that they feed off, isn't it?
Yeah. It's hard to comprehend in a world filled with so much love, but so much evil as well. And like I've said before, it's dualistic reality. And we're all fighting and they're fighting for the hearts and minds for humanity. And, putting it all there on the table and seeing how it all plays out because they're giving us a chance to stand up and we gotta take it. We gotta really push hard at the moment because yeah, it's like I
Mm,
said before, it's a very pivotal time and it's crazy. And that's like even the pentagram, like how they invert the pentagram and everyone just thinks that's the devil symbol, which it is, but it's an inversion for the materialistic points to be inverted up high and for our soul to be down the bottom where it should be the other way around and we should be focused on connecting with our higher self and not be bound by this world filled with materialistic things. And we all got to realize that we're infinite. And like you said, let that fear go because that's ultimately what they feed off. They want the world in chaos. That's what they love because ultimately they want to push for this agenda of transhumanism and combining themselves with this artificial intelligence, this technology, and try and live forever. Um, and it's got to be stopped because it's unnatural and it'll affect all of us. They want to try and bring everyone into that transhumanism, which is the mark of the beast, and we have to do everything in our power to stop it.
mm. So, how do you see it playing out in terms of like we know on a deeper scale we're going through a massive transition here. There's a big shift going on, not just consciously, but like with the planet's also going through a massive shift in conscious at the moment. We're coming into the age of Aquarius, I believe, if not,
Mm.
we're already in it.
Yeah.
So, like, do you almost see like a splitting of realities of people that are in that high vibrational state and that love resonance will almost, not to use like new age terms and that, but like ascend to 5D and we'll be almost in like a different reality, but that like New World Order matrix will still play out on a lower level on the 3D still. Do you think that's a possibility?
Yeah, look, anything's a possibility. No, we haven't got all the answers, but like I see it as, yeah, the splitting of the choices each individual makes, whether they get stuck in a reincarnation cycle for a long time and be a part of this transhumanism transhumanism agenda, or you will ascend to higher dimensions and realities, which is ultimately heaven, if you want to call it that. Um, but yeah, ultimately it's our choice. There was a movie I just watched recently. I hadn't watched in a while. Keanu Reeves movie. And the devil is in it, and I can't think of what it's called.
Oh yeah, I know
But
the one.
um, but yeah, I'd have to upload the speech of the devil in that, and it's something along the lines of, he puts
Well,
all the
we can
he
edit
puts
it in.
yeah, exactly. We'll edit it in.
But I'm no puppeteer, Kevin. I don't make things happen. Doesn't work like that.
What did you do to Marianne?
Free will. It's like butterfly wings. Once touched, they never get off the ground. No, I only set the stage. You pull your own strings.
Yeah, well, that sums it up. And devil puts all the cards on the table, and we ultimately play the game, and it's our choices that determine our fate, and we have to make the right choices and ascend or descend back in
Mm.
to the yeah, reincarnation cycle.
Yeah, like with the whole reincarnation cycle, and like you mentioned, the like you get stuck in the loop. And like I've heard like David Icke speak about like how it's the trap and like, they keep you in this reincarnation loop. And, I guess to a certain degree they do. But, I think like ultimately it's sort of us because we get stuck in it with our own karma that we create. And then so we have to keep coming back to clear that karma. And you know what I mean? So it is a trap
Yeah,
that like it's it's sort of it is us that it's like because it knows how we work and it
mm,
knows we can't sort of get out of the reincarnation cycle until we clear that karma. So it
yeah,
knows that it keeps us in this loop that it does with making it hard to clear that karma and hard to wake up and all this. You know, you know what I'm getting at?
yeah. I do exactly, but and it's hard to explain, and um, but yeah, there's I think a lot of us don't realize how many times we could have reincarnated and how many
Yeah, yeah.
different like lives we've lived. And that's what someone will say, oh, well, that person didn't have a chance. How could he go to heaven or hell and whatnot? But who knows? We could have reincarnated in um every life that is around us. Like, and that's why there's alternate realities. Who knows? I'm just putting this out there. It's a pretty
Mm,
hard thing to like fathom and put into perspective, but that's why we're a collective consciousness and sort of scores of how we go in each life, and it determines at this pivotal point in time, um, if we move on, or if some of us don't, and we do separate into different parts of uh, each of us obviously have a soul, and that's what you stay here or you go. It all
mm,
determines of how you've played the game, or there's so many different theories you could go into about all this, and it's hard to know ultimately, but yeah, it's definitely an intriguing topic. But yeah, like you said about David Icke, and it's you can't get into that um trap mindset. But he actually at the end of his I haven't read his new book, or maybe he has another one that I haven't read. But at the end of like the trap, he does end it into a positive sort of note that it is our ultimately our choice and our um if we get out of here or not, and the way we play the game is ultimately
mm.
how it determines our fate.
Yeah. Yeah, I think it comes to the same conclusion. I think I was just looking at it from a different standpoint. Um, but yeah, it's an interesting topic, isn't it? And
Yeah,
I guess we can now delve a little bit into our awakening. Um, and you might be familiar with our story if you listened to the podcast in the past. I think it's an important time to touch on it with, so many people going through their awakening. But obviously it was very different for us. Um, Back, around 2010. I think it was around that sort of time. I can't pinpoint it exactly.
yeah,
So a completely different time. I think back at it, and like I had so many different factors at play for me to, you know, have that big moment, I guess. Um,
mm,
but personally, I had, all throughout my childhood, um, had questioned a lot of things. Probably questioned a lot more than what a usual child would. And I can even remember like, one pivotal moment in my life when I was probably 11 or 12. And I was laying in bed one night, and trying to get to sleep. I just couldn't get to sleep because I just had so much on my mind. Like, why are we here? And I was learning about, we grew up as Catholics and stuff. And so, learning about all that and the story of Christ. And I'm trying to think, as an 11 and 12-year-old there, can't laying there trying to go to sleep. Like, if God created us and created this realm, like, you know, that's all well and good, but who created God?
mm,
And if, you know, then if something created, like, I just couldn't fathom that. Like, and I'm like, well, if there was a point, then there was nothing. And, and like, I'm trying to imagine like nothing. And I'm like, well, then there's something because nothing is something. and my head was just spinning as a 12-year-old. Like I couldn't go to sleep, and I remember Tash, our older sister, was awake, and I had to go and speak to her and stuff. But yeah, that was a pivotal moment when I couldn't, I just knew we were more too. I watch movies like Star Wars and Dragon Ball Z, things that we grew up with loving, and like I just really resonated with it, and I just always knew, I just had this feeling inside that we had that potential inside of us too, things that we were seeing in these cartoons and movies. And I'd say you can understand like where I was at as a young kid, and but like, it got to a point where we had that big moment, and I put it down to three factors that really ignited this awakening for me. And you can touch on yours more as we go along, but we just lost our mate, my best mate, um, to suicide. He was battling bipolar and schizophrenia. So that losing someone and going through grief, someone like so close to you, and then grieving, going through that grieving process is, I think that is one pivotal thing that really helps wake people up. Um, so at that time, I was also um, started to smoke quite a lot of weed. I think weed also has had a big thing to play with my awakening because I don't want to get too much into it, but it just when I first started using that drug, well, I don't even want to call it a drug because it's not. It's an incredible plant, but it opened my mind. If you just want to call it that, I just started thinking differently and was just open to new concepts and stuff. So I had the weed, I had the grieving of the loss, and at the same time, you know, learning about different things because I wanted to really find out why my mate had schizophrenia or what was this disease and why he killed himself over it. Um, and the conclusion I come to was um, he was influenced by a demonic force, an unseen outside force. And so that really opened me up to that realm. So I was really starting to spiritually awaken with taking marijuana and going through this grieving process. So, you can imagine I was starting to lose faith in the governments and what we were told and different things. And then I really started to lose faith in all that when we started seeing so many UFOs, like countless. I can't even remember, but we had that many different UFOs and all different types of ones too. But yeah, we had that many different ones fly over the top of us. It was incredible. Like I had one experience. You weren't with me this night, Mitch, but there's one experience I had where there was one literally above my head. I was coming home, driving home one night, and I was driving through the driveway, and there was one just hovering in the air, probably 20 or 30 meters just in the air above me. And then like as I come up underneath it, I drove underneath it and I stopped the car and got out underneath. I got out and had a look at it and I was freaking out at this point. I was thinking, what the hell is going on? I didn't know what this thing was going to do, but then it just started going away. And but anyway, like I don't want to, get too much into that, but so I had so many different things going on, and so many different questions, and I still was left with, no answers really. I knew there was all these different things going on. And it wasn't until I come across, and it was a mate of ours come across a video of David I, and he was talking about the nature of reality and what we truly are, and then he went into talking about the reptilians and everything, and I didn't shy away from that at all, nor did you. And a lot of people might hear that and just think, "Oh my God, what is this guy on?" And eventually they may warm to that, but it wasn't like that for us. We heard that and we resonated straight away. And I was like, "Oh my God, that guy is spot on. This is it." And all of a sudden, everything that had going on, all these dots were connected. All these questions were starting to get answered. And then, boom, I was on my awakening journey. Crazy. I probably could add more to that, but I'll leave it there. But yeah, is there anything you want to add to it, Mitch?
Yeah, look, it was now thinking back to it, and it was a crazy journey. But we always had each other when other people don't always have someone that they can always talk to, always be there for them through the tough times, because we had some tough times, but we always had each other. And like now that I think back to when at that time we really started awakening, I was only 17 years of age. And, I look at 17-year-olds and a lot of them just wouldn't be able to handle the sort of information that we were looking into, but it was our destiny. We were driven. We knew it was aligned to us and it was our mission. It was crazy time. Like now that I think back to it with all the UFOs, like you said, Josh, we out in nature a lot, and that's why we've seen a lot and countless experiences to open our eyes to them experiences that a lot of people would completely dismiss and say, "Oh, it was probably just satellites, planes," but we got to know the difference, and we could tell that these experiences came to us for a reason. Um, it was a major rites of passage for us. Um, and I just want to touch on about mental illness. There's a lot that we don't know of, and people have really got to keep an open mind with mental illness because, as Josh said, we lost our best mate to it, and he was fed pharmaceutical drugs from such a, being a teenager, and we know a lot of people are on pharmaceutical drugs, and people may think that's an option, and it's just a band-aid though, and it's doing something more, I believe, connecting them to darker energies, either their shadow self just totally betraying them and whispering in their ear, or if it is demons, archons, jinn, whatever you want to call it. Because this stuff is real. So many people are affected by it. And a lot of people just want to turn the other cheek. But ultimately, we have to try and be there for them as much as we can, because it's a sad thing to happen, to lose a best friend to such a sickening illness. It's terrible. It's affects so many people, and that's why there's a lot of suicide, especially in men out there. Um, but yeah, we got to be there for each other, and we had each other, Josh,
Mm.
and that's why we got to be more in contact with open-minded people, and because you never know what anyone's going through, and just talking more to even anyone, and it's tough, but
Yeah,
it's a tough
absolutely. You make a
subject.
good
Yeah,
point. Um, yeah, I guess I've never really thought about it, but like having you there and us waking up, well, having our awakening together, it you know, made it a hell of a lot easier, I guess. Like it'd be extremely difficult to have that realization and then like go through that by yourself. Um,
yeah,
so yeah, I'm yeah extremely fortunate that you know to have not only you there, that we had some other mates. We had some good people around us too. So it was
yeah,
um, you know it was difficult to talk, especially back then. Obviously, it was completely different. It was,
yeah,
you brought a lot of
exactly.
this stuff up, and people would just laugh at you and stuff. But
Yeah,
you
got
know,
yeah,
we did. There were quite a lot of people that were switched on at that time too. You know,
yeah,
so. And they were within our circle, so it wasn't what we didn't have it too bad, and we were lucky. But yeah, if you are someone that is going through that at the moment, you do want to surround yourself um, with like-minded people because it's a lonely road and it can be a dark road, you know,
mm,
especially when you're finding out all this heinous stuff. Um, but you know, like I think. You know, I mentioned that David Icke video, and the best thing about that was like when he was mentioning the fucking reptilians and you know how this it's pretty much a people farm and these things feed off of us and you know it's it's fucking dark to find all that out, you know, to know
mm,
that we're in the control of a non-human entity. You know, it's insane, but. Um, the thing that got me through was you know understanding what we are, you know, how we are infinite, um, where we like the universe experience in itself. You know, we have multiple of these incarnations, and we're like I said, we're infinite. We live on forever. Your soul is untouchable. Like
mm,
no matter what you may hear at different things. You know, they can take your soul and trap your soul and all this sort of stuff. Like your soul, it can be tainted, but it, you know, it's infinite. You know, you are infinite love. Like when you find that message out, like you just lose fear. Like I think, you know, obviously the biggest fear people have is death. And once you lose that fear of death, it's, you know, it's incredibly liberating. Like. I
mm,
mean, obviously, yeah, I do fear death. I fear other people, my loved ones dying more because then you got to be left behind to grieve them. But personally, me, I don't fear death because I know I'm just going on to the next phase of my existence. So it's just temporary. This is just temporary. We're just going having an experience in this incarnation, you know.
yeah,
And
exactly
what
right.
a time to be alive. What a time
Yeah,
to be incarnated here on Earth.
yeah, exactly right. And that's why we've got to keep focusing on the love that is in this world and not the darkness, because and I'll just touch on about mental illness again. And I know I don't have the answer to cure these people, but I wish I did, because there's so many people out there that are suffering. Um, if you do like have the answer, I'd love to know because I'd love to be able to help these people in these situations because I can't imagine how isolated and different you'd feel with having these mental illnesses. Um, that's why we just we have to try and keep loving these people as much as we can because, like you said before, they could be influenced by dark forces, and um, we got to shine our light and love to dissipate the darkness, and we just have to keep pushing forward in a time that, like you said, is crazy time, and yeah, it's. I was going to get onto something else, but I've sort of lost my train of thought.
No, you're right, mate. We've been going for a while now, but like, yeah, you make a great point. Like, and if anyone is struggling, like, please don't, excuse me, hesitate to reach out to myself or Mitch. And like that's all it can take is just having a bit of a chat to someone, and like it's we don't want to see people isolated, and um, so yeah, I think little things can go a long way, but just reaching out to people and seeing how they're doing, and um, like you spoke about medication before. Like, we've got to have some hard conversations with people and that are on medication and that for different mental illnesses, and try and start to weed these people off it because it is a big cause of you know suicide, keeping these people in that low vibrational state, and it's just a vicious cycle, and you're never going to get better. Like, as
Hmm.
Mitch said, like it's just a band-aid. So you're
Yeah.
just going to keep going around in circles. So
And someone could say, "Oh, like it stopped me from, you know, maybe committing suicide, or it's made them better." And you know, that's fine. You can keep on taking it if that's the choice you want to take. But yeah, it's not a cure. It's just a band-aid. Um, and it's ultimately, yeah, it's not the right path that we should
nah,
be putting these people on at a young age, as well as many other things that we get poisoned and polluted by. Um, yeah,
that's a whole nother topic we can get into. With, yeah, the attack on us all, and it's just as we were saying before, they've set this whole game up. They set the medical system up, the Rockefellers. You mentioned the 13 families before. They're one of them. They've set the education system up, and yeah, we're just being fooled and to thinking what real education is and what real health is. And it's no wonder we see the world the way it is today with extremely high rates of disease and mental illnesses and different things. So
yeah,
crazy, man.
yeah. Crazy times.
Yep. All right. Well, um, did you have anything else you wanted to finish up on, or?
Um, no, just keep fighting the good fight, everyone. And or if this is the first time listening to us, we're gonna keep trying to do these podcasts more frequently every week, keeping consistent. So come back for more, and I hope you get a lot out of these chats, and comment anything you want to. Um, send my love to everyone, and yeah, that's about it.
Well said. yeah, so if you're watching this on my channels on jbtv, either on YouTube or BitChute, um, please leave us a like, comment, like Mitch said, that'd be great. Um, but yeah, subscribe if you haven't already, that'd be great. And did you want to give your channels a plug too, Mitch?
Yeah, Freedom Network, on BitChute and on YouTube, um, as well as I've got another personal page on Instagram, um, Mitchell Blanchard 888, and Freedom Network on Instagram and Facebook as well. Yeah, that's about it.
Sweet as
Yeah.
I'll leave your links in the description of my videos, so people can find you if they haven't, if they're not following you already. But yeah, look, stay positive, guys.
Yeah.
Yeah, obviously there's a lot going on, and very easily you can get consumed and go down that dark spiral we've spoken about. So yeah, don't be afraid to reach out to like-minded people, or even reach out to us if you've got no one else. But yeah, let's stick together and keep fighting.
Yeah, well said, bro.
All right, we'll catch you next week.
See you later.